welcome to Strickland's and Friends.
Today we're making a red lentil, sweet potato, and Swiss chard soup. So here's all the ingredients laid out so you can see everything we're using. It is red lentils, and they have not yet been cooked. They cook really quickly, so you don't have to soak them overnight. And we have coconut milk, we have broth, we have some beautiful red Swiss chard. This is gorgeous. We have sweet potato, ginger root, garlic, onion, and some lemon juice, and just a dash of salt. So I'm going to get all of that cut up, and we'll see you back in just a second.
Hey, all right, so we've got cut up Swiss chard, we've got cut up sweet potato, minced garlic, ginger, ooh, and some chopped onion.
And the stems of the Swiss chard. So we're not just using the leaves, we're using the whole thing.
Oh,
so that's
they've got a nice crunch usually,
chopped
right?
stem. Well, they're kind of like celery in a way, but yeah. So,
celery.
Oh, your favorite. Okay, I said the magic word. All right, so we're going to start by sauteing the onion, the garlic, and the Swiss chard stems for just a few minutes to get the onions nice and cooked through. So we'll go ahead and do that. And one thing, did you notice what I'm not putting in the pan?
Where's the oil?
Oil, yeah, there's no oil. So we're not using oil because we're making this super healthy, and low in fat. Okay, so here you could kind of stir that around a little bit. This was chard, and let that cook for just a minute. So what you can do to keep the onion and the Swiss chard from sticking is just add a splash of water. So, and it doesn't really need it yet, it's not sticking yet. So this will cook about 5 minutes.
All right, so it's been 5 minutes of cooking this, and
Adding the garlic.
on medium-high heat.
Just stir that a little bit to get the garlic to cook. And then we're going to add 6 cups of vegetable broth. And 1 can of light coconut milk. So this is Whole Foods 365 brand organic light coconut milk. Get that open. Get something to scrape it out. Okay, there we go. Whoop. And it flops right in. It'll dissolve.
Coconut milk is kind of a solid thing.
It can
At room
be.
temperature?
It's kind of cold right now, so that would explain it, which is also why we're making soup, because it's cold out. So it'll break up as it gets hot. Okay, we've added the broth and the coconut milk, and we're going to add the red lentils. So this was 1 cup of red lentils that were not soaked, but I did rinse them because I got them out of the bin at, the bulk bin at Whole Foods, and I figure, I don't know if they sit there and get dusty or not, but I always, figure if I can get them out. They get hard sitting in the drain thing. Okay, there we go. So that's all rinsed and drained. They will not take long to cook. All right, and red lentils are a great source of fiber and protein. They're super good for you. Okay, and then we're adding the sweet potato. So that ended up being about 3 cups or so. And then the ginger, this is about 2 tablespoons of fresh minced ginger. And then the ingredients we have left are a little bit of salt and lemons that I haven't squeezed yet, but we'll get some lemon juice out of those. But that's it for now. We're going to bring it to a boil. And once it comes to a boil, we'll then bring it back down to a simmer and put a lid on it for 30 minutes or so. And then we'll be able to add the salt and the Swiss chard leaves. So those go in at the end. We don't want them to cook and cook and cook because they're very tender. So one thing to point out about Swiss chard, so Swiss chard is high in oxalates, and so if you are somebody with a history of kidney stones, then you might want to consider a different green. I wouldn't go with spinach or Swiss chard because spinach and Swiss chard are very high in oxalic acid, and isn't that what kidney stones are made out of?
Calcium oxalate.
Right, and so if you have, if you have kidney stones, you'd switch to a different kind of green probably, like maybe you could try, I would imagine, kale, collards, cabbage, you could try some other things that are a little lower in oxalates. So, all right, so we'll let this cook for about 30 minutes and then we'll check back in.
So the coconut milk was solid because
It's cold.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's like
And 'cause
67 degrees.
In here, yeah, probably 66, 67. So I didn't shake it up.
So that means it's probably got a fair amount of saturated fat.
It does have some saturated fat. Yeah, coconut milk, this is light. This is much reduced fat. So this has 5 grams of fat in a serving, and 4 of those grams are saturated. So, yeah. But, this makes several servings. So
yeah. So it's sure not a horrible amount, but if somebody was really trying to be more strict with saturated fat, what else could they do?
They could use half the amount of coconut milk, drop that down to just half a can, but shake up the can really well first.
Okay.
So you get everything mixed together, especially if you can get the can kind of warm first, like at room temperature. It's kind of chilly in here, so that it was really solid. But yeah, if you can warm
What would
it up a
happen
little
if
bit.
you used like an almond milk or a soy milk or something like that?
It's not going to be as creamy. Now,
Right.
you could do that. It just won't make it as creamy.
You could add some thickener.
Yeah, I suppose you could. You could mix a little tapioca starch with water and make a paste and put that in, and it would thicken up. I wouldn't go too heavy on that though, because you'd get it really thick, and then you wouldn't be able to eat it. So, but that's an idea. Yeah.
Yeah.
Make it like
Eat your
guap soup.
eat your soup with a fork and a knife.
Exactly. That doesn't sound good. So, all right. So we'll let this cook for about 30 minutes, and it looks like it's starting to bubble a little bit. It's getting there, so we're going to bring it up to a boil, and then bring it back down to simmer, put the lid on it, and get everything all cooked through.
So right now it's on high heat.
Right.
And so after it starts boiling, we'll bring it all the way down to
Medium
low.
Medium low in there, and just make sure it's not boiling anymore, and then put the lid on it, and we'll let that cook for about 30 minutes, because obviously we want the lentils to be cooked.
Yeah.
And we also want the sweet potato to not be crunchy anymore. Because
Very good.
that would be weird. I mean, you can eat sweet potato raw, it's just, I think it's better cooked. And lentils, no, you cannot eat those raw. So you definitely don't even want them to be al dente. You want them to be cooked. So we're going to go for at least 30 minutes with this.
Excellent.
All right.
All right, so it's been a while.
Well, yeah, it's been longer than half an hour. We got busy doing other stuff, but it's still cooking. So, and it's
Soup
fine.
is forgiving.
Soup is forgiving. So we're not, don't taste it yet. We got to add the other stuff. Silly. Okay, so we're gonna add. Let's take that off and take a look at it. So it looks like the sweet potatoes have cooked through, and you can tell because you can take one and smash it up against the side, and it smashes. So it's cooked. They are cooked all the way through. The lentils have kind of just disappeared in here. So yeah, how does it smell?
Oh, it's got that Japanese restaurant coconut soup smell to it.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Or Indian restaurant.
Yeah, that smells really good. Okay, so we are going to add some lemon juice. So I've cut some lemon in half. I'm just putting it in our little juicer. We'll squirt some in. And we're adding all of these wonderful Swiss chard leaves. So if you would give that a stir, get them all stirred in. We'll add a little bit more lemon juice in a minute, but there we go. So you don't want the Swiss chard leaves to cook too long, maybe just a couple of minutes, because they're going to wilt pretty quickly into the soup. So spinach would too. You know how spinach kind of disappears when you cook it? Like you have this much spinach and it ends up being this much spinach. It's a little teeny bit. So it'll start to disappear in there just a little bit. Look how pretty that is. That's a beautiful soup. It's very colorful. It's funny, red lentils are really kind of orangish red, but when they cook in here, they're sort of yellow after they've cooked. So look at that. That's beautiful. Okay, you want to taste it? See what you think.
And that's so good. I don't really know what the lemons are going to add.
Oh, okay. Well,
It's just great the way it is.
Okay. Well, I added a little already. So,
Yeah.
And then what you could do is cut up lemon and serve lemon wedges with it.
Yeah.
Also, if you would like it spicy, you could add some chili peppers, like little roasted red chili pepper flakes, or that coconut sriracha sauce that we found.
Oh.
Yeah, that would be really good with it. So, yay. So we have a winner.
Oh, very much so.
Yum! It's done.
A good winter meal.
A good winter meal, and it's just not that hard to do. It's really very easy. So, yay! All right. So, do try this at home.
Thank you for joining us.